Welcome back to Bust Picks, episode 64. My name is Dio. That is Don.
How we doing?
And Don, we have stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world. It is mid-May, which means every good playoffs are currently like in full effect. We got NHL guys just smashing into each other. We got the NBA tearing Achilles left and right. But that's not why we're here, Don. We're here because the lottery's rigged, right? That's what the word on the street is now.
You could definitely tell that there's been some suspect things in the past, and I could see why people are assuming it now.
Okay.
Especially because the league has been caught being rigged at one point before.
We'll get into that next, but first, Don, I want to start with your fact of the day.
Speaking of NBA stuff, just a quick small one, because everyone remembers Jordan, Pippen being undefeated in the finals, 6-0.
Yeah, 6-0.
They never lost the finals.
Never lost. LeVar Ball. Hero of mine.
Lost his foot. But there is 3 members of the 8-0 finals team.
Celtics team?
Celtics.
Yeah, back in like the 60s?
60 through 69, where they missed 1 year. But, the 60-61 season through the 68-69. Just missing 1 season, the 66-67. But John Havik, Casey Jones, Tom Snatch Sanders, 8-0 in the finals.
Now, all right, let's just say you're 72 years old right now, right?
Sure.
Or you're way older than that if you played in the 60s. But let's just say you're in your mid-80s.
Yeah.
Is it a brag to be like, I was 8-0, like I should be talked about as one of the best basketball players of all time?
I don't know.
Or teams?
I think teams. Teams, yes. Because you could only play the competition that's around you.
Correct. And
if those guys had the training and the amount of hours and the specialization they have today, I think that's my argument with generations. Is if you're a great athlete, you're a great athlete no matter what the era is.
Can I give you a counterpoint?
Sure.
Could that happen in today's game?
8-0?
Could someone hypothetically win like 7 titles in 1 decade?
If they got rid of
7, 8, 9 titles in a decade.
I think if we got rid of cap space, got rid of luxury tax in the NBA, yeah.
So we just made the game free to play.
Because that's what it was at that time.
I hear you.
Was we can go buy the best players in the league. They can't go anywhere else really because of player advocacy at the time. And we're just going to form a super team.
But that's why I think like those games don't matter as much. Because like
they matter in context.
Not the same.
Because there's other teams could have done that.
Yeah. I think winning 5 NBA titles in 1960s is equivalent to like 1 NBA title now. Like I think their 5 equate to 1 Giannis ring. To me, personally.
I think that's tougher considering I think only I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I think only 8 or 9 NBA franchises have ever or out of the 30, I think it's like only 10 have ever actually won a championship.
Yeah, not a lot of teams have ever won championship. It's like 3
because we had that similarly with the Bulls got 6, they were 3 away.
There's only 2 teams that have more than 10 and like only 4 of them that have more than 5 or something like that. And I think it's like the Spurs, Bulls.
But I'm saying if you were able to take that Bulls team that were able to figure it out cap space wise and just go, hey, we're going to add 1 extra guy and Jordan doesn't retire. They could have done it.
Yeah, maybe.
Like the Warriors, if they didn't have a cap issue.
If the Warriors didn't have a cap issue, if the Warriors stayed healthy, maybe they could have won a few more.
They could have won 5 or 6.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they come back and win their 5th ring this year. Who knows?
We'll talk about it.
Right now they're down 3-1.
Yep.
Let's get into the NBA lottery ball. The lottery dropped, which is really interesting because the NBA does this thing for their draft where they just put all the bad teams in one pot. They get their ball put in there. They spin the balls, and whatever drops. Everyone has a certain percentage. A few years ago, they dropped the percentage from the top 4 teams having like a 20% chance to only having a 14% chance.
Which makes sense.
Which incentivizes the tank. Like you don't tank
against the tanking. Yeah. Which was a big issue after the 76ers.
Yeah. Trust the process. That worked really well for them. How many rings did they win?
They were competitive, and they still are, but...
I don't think tanking is the answer for anything. If you want to tank, you should be allowed to tank. I think the lottery is stupid. Why do I think the lottery is stupid? Because you only need 1.8% chance. You only need a few rebounds in a play-in game to go sideways for you to end up with Cooper Flagg, the number 1 pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. Universally. Probably one of the best picks of this decade in the draft.
The most locked in day one starter. That's what he's being compared to. Is his on court ability is already generational. Like we've seen that.
He's very good.
Very, very good. He's a day one. He's going to make noise immediately.
And now he gets to go to the Mavericks, who have a pretty decent roster.
Yeah.
Like Lively and AD and like we don't know
if they can stay healthy.
Kyrie, but like Klay Thompson's back. They have some bodies there. They have some cap space there. Don, the thing that's fluttering around everywhere, everyone wants to talk about, is this rigged? Was this rigged? Because clearly the Mavericks traded Luka over to the Lakers, where all this drama happened.
It brought more eyes. The viewership spiked immediately.
Nico started getting a bunch of hate, and then all of a sudden they get the number 1 pick. It does smell fishy. Where do you land on this?
I wouldn't be surprised if the NBA put their finger on the scale, because they've done it in the past with reffing.
I'm going to say finger on the scale like 7 times today. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
But they've done it with the referees with point shaving.
Oh, 100%.
They had that giant scandal in the past, and the NBA allegedly knew about it at the time.
Kind of still have it now. Where like they have certain reps that they'll throw in, and we all kind of know like, oh man, this is Chris Paul's not winning this game. You know?
Yeah. And that's an issue when refs have a direct beef with a player.
Yeah.
Like you're not impartial anymore.
Finger on the scale though.
Yeah. No. You also have allegedly the Patrick Ewing with the frozen envelope.
Froze the envelopes, and then that way he can go around, grab the cold one, and then he's like, all right, Ewing to the Knicks.
And then shortly after, they stopped televising when they're picked. Because if you look, the lottery's not televised.
No.
They just come out and announce the results.
So because the internet and everyone was like, dude, this is clearly rigged.
Yeah.
A bunch of people that were inside the room as the lottery ball dropped, I guess all went on a massive media tour and went on a bunch of shows like Colin Cowherd and a bunch of Fox shows and CBS and NBC and ESPN shows just out here talking about like, it wasn't rigged. We were all in there and we were all in shock. And if you think it's rigged, you're a moron and you shouldn't even watch sports, yada, yada, yada. And at first I was like, you know what? They're right. Why would they rig the league? You know what? And then they just kept laying it on thick.
That's the suspect part.
That I'm like, dude, I mean, come on.
If like a couple independent reporters who were in the room came out and said it afterwards, like, no, this is actually what happened, and then it just died, no one would be talking about it that much.
Their big thing was like, well, why does if the NBA rigs the draft all the time, why wouldn't other teams win it? Why wouldn't they want to make other markets big?
They've done it with Chris Paul.
They did it with Chris Paul.
They did it with Chris Paul. They did it with Ewing.
It to the Pelicans.
They did it with LeBron staying home, the hometown hero staying in Cleveland. They did it with D-Rose staying in the hometown hero. Mm-hmm. Like
in Chicago.
Chicago. Like there's been instances where this has happened before.
Hell, the Pelicans got it twice with AD and Zion.
Yeah, they got the big guys. On top of that, the fact that you have NBA players who are leaning that it is rigged.
I mean, NBA players are pretty much like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, the fact that like LeBron's openly talked about like, yeah, this is pretty rigged, it feels.
So
the fact that Kyrie has also said the same thing.
We have Kyrie's we can't take everything Kyrie says.
No, but it's his own team.
I hear you.
Like, why is he opening his mouth?
The NBA has given us two choices at this point.
Yeah.
Either we just accept that this is what the NBA is, which is easier a pill for me to swallow.
Yeah.
If they're just like, yeah, sometimes we put our finger on the scale. Whatever.
Like, we want to maintain a competitive market?
Correct.
Sure.
And a product. I can live with that. I just want transparency.
And
that's path number one. There's a second path.
Yeah.
Where I'm afraid they're going to do, and they're going to stick to being like, oh, we are upstanding citizens, and we care about the game of basketball more than we care about. this product and merchandising and all that stuff. We know that's not true. No. That's why you drop 17 different jersey collaborations every year that all are bad. Every single one of them are bad.
They have one or two that stand out per team, but
one or two.
But that's the issue. That's the issue.
They just want, which is fine.
Like, I don't. You're a business. We understand.
Just be we would love you more. I guarantee you we'd watch more if you were like, I bet you this Spurs game's going to be really good because they're playing the Knicks or whatever. You know, like.
I will say the one asterisk I'll put on there is they do have a certified accountant. It was Mark Delaney, partner of the accounting firm Ernst & Young, who did sit in to certify the results of the draft. But also, why are you having an accountant certify draft lottery results?
Look,
which is just weird to me in general. But like, if that's what you're going with is the narrative of it has to be legit because we have an accountant in the room certifying it. Why not broadcast it live?
Can I tell you what they also did?
Yeah.
They invited a very prominent podcast into the room with them for the first time ever, giving them credentials. And they pitched the podcast the entire time. They were like to the hosts, oh, yeah, there's no way to rig it. It's impossible to rig it. And then they, in live action, got to see what happened with Dallas.
Sure.
And the entire time they were like, oh, this is so rigged. It's crazy.
The fact that you have to emphasize consistently.
It's just the emphasis.
Well, like even if it's not, you get the optics of the NBA. Of like the idea that if I keep telling you, hey, you know McDonald's burgers are real meat?
Yeah.
Like they actually serve real meat. Do you know? Do you know? Like, I don't know. Everyone might be saying something different. It's real meat. That's going to make me second guess that.
I had McDonald's today.
Yeah.
You just said that right now 3 times. Only it made me feel like that
1%.
I might have not eaten meat. And 30 seconds ago, I thought a full burger.
But that's the issue. Is like with the NBA, it's like you have to like even if it isn't rigged, your optics are making it seem like you're hiding something.
1.8% chance. What's 1.8 is nothing.
Which it is a statistical outlier, and those do occur once in a while.
For sure.
But the way it's gone about it and the way the NBA has reacted to it is the worrisome part to me.
Look, reactions are everything.
Yeah. It's like you're a business. The optics matter.
Yeah, like the celebrities that they had during the lottery that were like reacting to everything. I thought it was hilarious. And then they finished the product and they're like, all right, go watch the Knicks play the Celtics now. Bye, guys. And then we just had to sit there and we were just like, what the heck just happened?
Again, if you don't want this to happen, why are we doing the draft or the lottery results behind closed doors?
A couple other things happened in the lottery. The Spurs got the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
The 76ers got the number 3 pick in the draft, which were also kind of surprising. I thought for sure that the Spurs were going to end up with the number 1 pick. Now watching this, this draft is really interesting because there's like 5 really good players that aren't Cooper flag, but they are very good players.
Yeah.
There's one player that I'm very, very excited to see, and I've made up like a little fantasy mock-up in my head. I want to see Ace Bailey from Rutgers. He just measured a little smaller than he is. He was 6'10".
Sure.
And then he lost 2 inches overnight somehow.
The shoes is probably...
The combine, they actually measured him.
2 inches is a lot. 1 inch makes sense. 1 inch is like, okay... Baylor's trying to pipe you up a little bit. I get that.
He's still a Syracuse.
Rutgers.
Rutgers,
thank you.
All bad.
Edgecombe is out of Baylor.
I think he should go to the 76ers. I think where he fits, I think they're going to get rid of Paul George.
Yeah.
I think he fits in that small forward spot, and then it slowly starts the process over again.
It starts to rebuild earlier. He's a wing shooter, which you don't really see at that size. If he was 6'10", if he's come down to it,
he's still a good shooter.
He's still a big. No, he's a good shooter. The size is because at 6'10" you could play the center.
Yeah, but now he's like going to play the wing.
You could play. That's a wing.
He's going to be more of like a Michael Porter Jr. type player, where he's going to play on the outside, make his shots. I think he's more athletic than Michael Porter Jr. But I think he could be a really good player. I don't think he's an all-star, but that's where he's at.
The big thing for me is he doesn't have any defensive capability right now. Well, he's a freshman. He did a one and done.
19 years old.
He'll develop.
I don't think he's going to be good at defense.
That's
my issue.
I think he has to be
in the right system.
It's that, and then if you looked at his college, he's not the best. Like if he pass and shoot guy, lights out. outside of that, not the best with the ball in his hands. He's not a good. He doesn't make good decisions. His dribbling isn't there yet.
To be fair, he had one other player on his entire team.
Yeah.
Everyone else was awful.
Which is
Dylan Harper.
Yeah,
which is going to be the number 2 pick in the draft.
We'll see if that turns around for him. But the idea that we didn't see, even if everyone on the team wasn't good, you still have to delegate the ball.
Yeah, you have to
be able to create. You have to be able to pass, come back into the lane, get the ball back.
Especially in today's game.
Especially in today's game, you need to be able to move the ball well. The defense not being there, that's the only red. But he's 19. The kid could develop. That's red flags to start. That's not red flags for development.
Do you have any players that you're like, all right, I kind of want to see?
I like Edgecombe. That's why I was bringing him up earlier.
Yeah.
I think if he ends up falling to San Antonio is going to be interesting.
You want him to go number 2?
I think if he goes number 2, would be a great little slot in for him.
Castle, some Wemby.
Yeah, he's a
Darren
smaller
Fox.
guy, small shooting guard, but he's aggressive. He's a slasher when he needs to be. He's strength. His mid range is really good. The other idea is I think if he does fall out of the top 3, the Hornets are right there to go scoop him up.
I think
that would be really good. You have Ball coming off his best shooting season, Brandon Miller coming into his own right now. I think if you add in another, issues aside there, but he is coming into his own as his own player. I think if you have kind of a hybrid ball shooting and you have a slasher mid-range guy and a shooting guard, that could create a fun dynamic.
My thing about the Hornets is I really do think they need a defensive player.
Yes.
I know that this might
be... He can play defense, but he's undersized to go up against any forward.
I wanted them to go get a position that's a very needy thing in the NBA right now. There's not a lot of centers in the league.
Yeah.
I think there's an elite defensive center in this draft. I'm going to butcher his name, but Kaman Malukac from Duke. He's a center. He's very, very athletic.
Yes,
he play all over the court. He can move very quickly. He's huge. He rebounds like a madman. He does not score as well as you want him to. He's not great underneath the basket when it comes to being able to be offensive. But he can set screens. He can move fast. And that's a team that has Lonzo Ball and Brandon Miller who are going to shoot the entire time.
Yeah.
I think they need a guy there that can immediately plug the lanes and do really good things defensively for them.
That would add an interesting dynamic, especially because with his speed, he could get up and down the court in those transitions. He's a slugger in the paint, but he's not slow.
An athletic 7-footer is good on basketball teams across generations.
100%.
Yeah, I think he's very good.
With so many top teams having early picks.
Yeah.
Because the Spurs were projected mid-round playoff team until Wemby got hurt.
Yeah, they're a good team.
They're a good team. The 76ers, I think, tanked a little bit towards the end. They have stars. Yeah, they had to go get picks.
And they got lucked out by the draft as well.
Yeah, and then you got a lot of lottery picks going to teams that were almost there. The Mavs were kind of the talent on the roster could leave to an 8 seed.
Correct. And all the tanking teams got 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Which leads me to think, does a top team trade out of the early draft to go get Giannis?
You want to go into the Giannis talk right now? Let's do Giannis talk.
Yeah, I was because this is my biggest thing. Is as much as I want to talk about which team these guys should go to, there's also the belief of I don't think a team's staying there. I don't think the top 4 stays the top 4.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
because right now I have Giannis getting traded to the Spurs.
Okay, that's the best fit in my mind. I've seen other teams rumored. I've seen where they're projecting.
The Spurs can
be
give
amazing.
The Spurs can give him the 2nd pick, the 14th pick this year. They can give him Stephon Castle, who's a good.
I think you could keep Castle.
I don't think you would be able to. I think you'd have to give up a good young player.
Yeah, but they have other guys. Castle is the best of the other guys.
I think he's enough to move the needle, and you don't have to give up all your picks. You can go get Giannis. You can give up this year's draft and maybe a 2027.
They have 8 first-round picks.
I know they have so many.
They
picks.
have these, I think, 2nd or 3rd most first-round picks,
which means they're going to be able to continuously reload
and
reload with their players while still having Giannis, while still having Wemby. They played their rebuild the right way. I think if they can go get Giannis,
this team becomes a nightmare overnight. They're already a tough team to match up against. Just due to the fact that a 7-footer could go guard your point guard and do well.
And he's shooting and he's playing, and he's backing people down. He's incredible.
And then you add Giannis's defensive capability on top of it. And just outside of the offense, you could lock down like half a side. You could lock down half the court with two guys.
You're freaking out. You're trying to double Wemby. You got to put your best single defender on Giannis, and then oh my gosh, who's in the front court? It's De'Aaron Fox, the fastest point guard in the league, and on one-on-ones with like another guard who's probably not that good at defending.
Yeah, it's a
nightmare.
It's a matchup nightmare, and then on top of that, the size.
Oh yeah,
because you can't like
size and speed. It's
how many
crazy.
great top tier defender like Rudy Gobert could probably go 1-on-1 with one of these guys. Like with Giannis, he could do okay. With Wemby, he could do okay. He has done okay in the past.
Yeah, they're gonna have to split.
But how many teams have a Rudy Gobert?
Literally, like two.
Exactly. Like you could.
The West is full of centers. Like Thunder have like two good centers that like they'll throw at you.
But Knicks you're going to need. Centers. But I'm saying you need an elite center to go 1-on-1.
Yeah,
and now you have to have two of them.
And then you
minimum.
get to keep like Jeremy Sochan, and you have the money. I think the Spurs are like the perfect situation.
Spurs would be wild. They have the cap space as well.
Yeah.
The big one that a lot of teams, like he's being linked to the Mavs, which Nico's come out and said that they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And he's being linked to the Spurs. The big reason is Giannis is reportedly looking for a state that has zero income tax.
Well, there's another team there.
There's
Houston Rockets, who also have a ton of picks.
Yes.
And a bunch of young talent. And they're trying to get over that playoff hump because they couldn't get out of the first round. I think they can give up Jalen Green, and they would happily go get a Jalen Green in Minnesota who can develop and be really good there with a ton of picks because Houston's not going to... I don't think the Spurs are going to be like... I don't think the Spurs are going to want to give up all 8 picks to go get Giannis.
No.
I think...
5?
I don't even think they're... I think they're...
No, I'm trying to say if you're not going to give up a lot of assets, just picks, not a lot of player assets.
I think Houston's way more liable to do something like that.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah. The other two teams that he's being currently linked to, the Warriors, which they would be interesting because they have gone all in on Butler. Curry's final dances, like he only got a couple more seasons left in him of being like the top tier.
I mean, he is hurt right now.
Yeah, he is. Issues right now, but I think and the big tie there is Giannis and Curry are both represented by the same agent,
which does matter.
Which does matter a lot in the NBA. So there's those conversations there. The Lakers, of course, because the Lakers will just spend money on everybody.
I was gonna,
so that's the only thing linking them to the Lakers. I think it's just the fact that the Lakers want a center and they have money.
Let's put on our tinfoil hats for a second.
Sure.
How could the Lakers get Giannis? I've thought about it for a long time.
You're giving up the entire roster other than LeBron, Luka, and Giannis. That's it.
We would have to lose LeBron.
More than likely.
And I don't want to do that. But I will do it for Giannis because I also love Giannis.
Giannis is great.
Send LeBron to Cleveland.
And you get another European star with him.
Correct. And the Lakers brand is already global, but it becomes mega global.
Yeah.
And I think it's huge. I just don't think we have the draft picks. We have only 3 draft picks. But we don't have the elite talent to go get it. We'd have to lose Reeves.
Yeah, Reeves would be gone. Rui would be gone 100%.
And then we wouldn't be able to build a
Finley
roster.
Probably.
Yeah, we'd probably lose some really good players. And I don't know if it'd be putting us in a better position for the next 2 years.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But it's just, of course, they had to be linked.
But they're the Lakers.
Yeah. The last big team that was linked is the Nets. Brooklyn.
Yeah. So I like the Nets because they do have the picks. They just don't have the young players to like shoot for.
They don't, but they have, like you said, they have the picks. They have the most. They lead the NBA in future draft picks. They have 31 right now, first and second round picks.
Yeah.
They have 15 first round picks.
They have a ton of picks,
so they can go
they have
and
all of Phoenix's.
Yeah, so they could just throw it all at the table and just
Yeah.
hope it sticks. They also lead the league in cap space right now.
Yeah.
Like they have the most. They are just barely over 50 million. And they do have some players, not stars, but like they have some role guys.
And like they got some
They have some guys that would assist a rebuild. Some guys that hold the ship steady until your draft picks come around.
I think if the Nets were to make a move like this, it would clearly be them doing something like they did with the Kevin Garnett trade and kind of what they did with the James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant situation, where they've clearly shown as an ownership group they're not afraid to go after big swings.
Yep.
And if they're bringing one star, guess what? We're bringing another. So I think if Giannis were to come, Keep an eye on Trae Young.
Yeah, they're going to grab somebody else to pair.
Keep your eye on a Zion Williamson. Keep your eye on a Devin Booker. On a.
Do you think Dame stays in Milwaukee?
Well, Dame's
I know Dame's.
You can't trade him because of his injury. His value right now might be at the lowest. He's still a max contract guy.
Yeah, but if you're able to restructure with him, and you're coming off the injury, Milwaukee goes, hey.
He won't restructure. He's guaranteed $50 million. What are you going to go up to him and be like, hey, man, no one will trade for you. You want to make 30 next year?
But I think it's more, hey, do you want to make 30 and go play for a team and try to bring Chase for one more season? I think that's the conversation. Because Milwaukee, if Giannis is gone,
yeah,
they're done. They're cooked. They're cooked
think they
for the
are
next.
done.
I think they're done for the next few years.
Yeah.
If I'm Lillard, is $20 million worth ring chasing? Because that's the conversation they're going to have with him.
He's spent a long time collecting checks for a long time. I'm sure he's fine.
I'd be curious.
He's probably not going to play for another. We might never see Damian Lillard play again.
I'm doing the assumption that he does play again, which I'm praying that he does. The man is phenomenal. But
that kind of leads to another topic that we kind of have to touch about with the NBA, which wasn't really on our list, but it happened late last night. The Knicks win, but in their win against the Celtics, Jason Tatum goes down with an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
The second big star to go down in this playoffs with an Achilles injury. It was weird watching him go down because I do hate the Celtics. I hate the Celtics with everything in my heart. But watching him go down did feel bad. Watching him go down.
You don't ever root for injury. I want the Knicks to beat a fully loaded Celtics roster. That would be amazing as an upset.
Jason Tatum was probably playing a top 5 game of his career.
Yeah.
He was the embodiment of like on fire. Him and Jalen Brunson were going back and forth the entire time, and then he goes down and everyone saw like the wheelchair picture, and it came out today after a long time that it is an Achilles tear.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be out next year. And this is probably the end of the Celtics like dynasty that happened. And once again, a super Celtics dynasty gets cut short after just one championship.
Yeah, because it's hard to replace him. It would be near impossible.
I then take a step back and I'm watching the entire media today. The media is a lot of Boston fans. There's a lot of basketball media is big, like Ryan Russillo, Bill Simmons, and I'm forgetting Zach Lowe. They're all like Boston guys, and they're all run the ringer. It's all over everywhere. I get sick of it because I'm like, they make me hate the Celtics even more because I'm a Lakers fan.
Sure.
I then got to hear all day these guys complain about it's over, our team's over, everything's done. If you're Jaylen Brown right now...
Oh, the disrespect on this man's name.
It's crazy.
Because, yes, Tatum is a massive part of the team.
Jaylen Brown won you the chip last year.
He's not the only all-star.
He's a superstar.
Yeah.
People need to be treating Jaylen... They should be kissing the feet that Jaylen Brown walks on because...
He's it.
Here's what we know. Going forward, there's a chance... Jason Tatum doesn't come back to being Jason Tatum. I don't want to say that out loud, but I did.
Any Achilles, ACL, those kinds of injuries are always scary because of that.
Correct.
Because not everyone is going to be the Adrian Peterson come back and hit 2,000 yards the next season.
That Adrian Peterson season,
he's Wolverine.
Single-handedly destroyed the idea of what you can do after an injury like that.
Because everyone looks at the high and no one looks at... There's guys that lose a step. It is not unheard of.
100%.
And I'm not rooting for that for Tatum. I want him to come back to 100%. I think he's a great player. Yeah. I love watching him. Athletic freak. I love watching him out on the court. But that is a realistic possibility of he may have to, instead of a 1A, 1B, have to be the number 2.
Don, 24 hours ago, I was reading articles about how they could trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis in Boston. And now... I mean, they're still kind of talking about it, and I'm like, why? This guy is clearly an all-star, all-NBA level talent. Jason Tatum's going to come back, but if you don't think Jason Tatum's back to where he is, build around Jaylen Brown.
You lucked into the idea that you have 2 faces of the franchise that could stand side by side.
I don't feel pity for Celtics fans. I feel pity for Jason Tatum.
And Jaylen Brown. I think that's got to be such a hard mental space to be in. It's like, hey,
100%.
I've outperformed this guy in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
I am just as big of an all-star. I'm also on like getting max deal offers. Why am I being like the tradable asset?
Because he can't dribble with his left. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Which
is like a meme that like people have somehow birthed into truth and reality. But like, that's where we're at.
I'm sorry that he's not as strong as a left-handed dribbler as he is with his right, but everyone has a non-dominant. That's fine.
Let's touch one more NBA topic. Jordan is back. Jordan's going to be on the NBC broadcast starting next season.
Yeah, he's going to be a special contributor as his official title.
We don't really know what he's doing. We think he's going to be just popping in and being like, hey, here's my parlay. Have fun, boys. But like...
There's a couple different ways. He could be tied to the gambling side. What's rumored is he could do the Carmelo Anthony role of like big marquee matchups, come in and do like the halftime a little bit analysis or the pre or post game analysis once in a while.
I think he's not going to be calling games, but he's definitely going to be on like the table talking about like what he sees and what his perspective is on the game. Part of me is like, okay, is this a ploy to get ratings up during the season for more games? Because, all right, LeBron's playing a game against Steph Curry and Michael Jordan's commentating on it. Damn straight I'm watching the NBC's breakdown over the final, over the TNT, Shaq and Chuck and all that.
I think it's them trying to bring in another big name because of the TNT group.
Correct.
But also I think the most direct thing I could pinpoint and go, this is where exactly he'll do like the biggest rating, the Christmas games.
Yeah, it's going to be,
because he's going to be involved with those. That's NBA's biggest matchups of the year. They always say for Christmas.
Here's the thing about the Christmas games, Donnie. We got NFL on Christmas now.
That's why I think they're bringing in Jordan right now.
Yeah.
Is to go and compete. It's like, hey, we lost last year, which they did. They lost in the viewership ratings. Yeah. What can we do what's the easiest thing to just go make a check next year and make sure that we go and compete again? And that's one of the best ways to do it.
I have one more thing to talk about
Sure.
with Michael Jordan, and that's, is this a good idea? Is this good for his legacy? Because I can make the argument that after he took off that Bulls jersey and put on that Bullets jersey, it's been nothing but bad decisions for Michael Jordan. Well, from buying the Charlotte Bobcats and GMing that and trying to run that franchise to doing public speaking announcements at North Carolina saying that the roof is the ceiling. Like, he doesn't do good on like...
But I mean, his NASCAR team's doing okay.
I didn't even know he had a NASCAR team.
Yeah, he has a NASCAR team. Denny Hamlin is the main driver for that team.
Name. I know that name.
Yeah, like he has a big star there. His golf stuff does well.
He's a big golfer. I'm sure he's really good at golfing.
I think it's more... You could tell he's always wanted something back into the NBA.
Yeah.
Like that's why he buys ownership stakes. That's why he was a player coach for a while. Like you could tell he really wants to still be a part of the game in some capacity. Mm-hmm. I think this is the best thing for him.
Okay.
Because like clearly
I'm excited for it.
Is like it doesn't work with him being a coach anymore. Because he expected players to act like he acts. And there's certain dudes that are just mentally so different that you can't expect other people to be like you. Ever.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he has to say.
That's
about,
what I'm curious.
Today's game, because we really don't have his opinion on what he thinks the NBA is.
He's very media quiet.
Yeah,
which I'm like. I think that's the excitement
in a world where all the old NBA heads are telling you exactly what they feel about this league, whether it's good or bad. Michael Jordan saying an opinion is going to matter, and people are going to listen.
Yeah,
it's just what if what he says means nothing. Like kind of like Magic Johnson. If you ever hear Magic Johnson talk about basketball, you're kind of like, if you ever read like his tweets or anything, it's just like almost like he's doing a play-by-play of breakdown of what the game was. He doesn't really give an opinion or like what. Well, I think
Magic's big thing, and it speaks to his era when he and Bird came in.
Yeah,
is just we're a fan of the game.
Yeah,
and we want to grow the game.
Yeah,
we're not here to criticize. We're not here to be technical.
Yeah,
which. I think Jordan out of anybody has the best voice to be critical if he wants to be.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who's going to be really critical.
But I'm also curious of him going, like, I think there's going to be the similar way that we had Bill Belichick last season break down film for the NFL and do that whole segment. I'm hoping we get something like that of Jordan getting into the details. Because I think that he's one of the best, like, other than Phil Jackson coming back to do that, I think he's one of the few guys, like, yeah, I think everyone would sit down, look at him on the whiteboard, and break it down. You don't think he'd just be
like, "Oh yeah, just give me the ball and I would have hit the shot"? Because that seems to be his more MO than to be like, "Oh yeah, what you're gonna do is you're gonna run an elevator screen out here and pass
But he
it
had
out to the.
he had to communicate to the team. They still run plays.
No, I hear you. Let's get into bust of the week. Bust of the week. I'm gonna go first.
Sure.
Is the Cleveland Cavaliers, the number 1 seed in the East, ends up losing in 5 games. Not just losing in 5 games, but having 3 games where they were up by 15 or more points, 2 of those games by 22 or more, and still figuring out a way to lose those games. Today was the last one. Nail in the coffin. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. I love you guys so much. Don does too. I know you're a big rooting for the Pacers guy.
I like the underdog story of them. Like, they've been scrappy. Miles Turner has been flirting with playoffs for a while. It's fun to see him finally take that next step.
If I hear another Miles Turner might get traded rumor for like the 9th straight year, I'm going to lose it next year.
Small market team, all-star player, but he's happy there. What's the issue?
Cleveland, you guys need something. I don't know what it is.
I think they're still a little young.
Go figure it out. Maybe Giannis. You guys do have the young players and picks.
Yeah.
Go figure it out. Don, who's your bust of the week?
I'm going to get on the soapbox here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I gave you a heads up, at least like a quick warning of what this was going to be.
I did some research so I could play devil's advocate, and I really couldn't.
It's the I'm taking the NHL overall right now.
Yeah.
Not just because like there's individual issues I'll get into, but the idea that the NHL was at an all-time high in viewership post the Four Nation face-off.
Even going into the playoffs. High ratings.
They have had so many issues and controversies with these playoffs, not just the games themselves, but that have breaking news that come out around the playoffs and other issues of the game right now that I think is going to tank a lot of that viewership and sour a lot of it.
Quick pause.
Sure.
Do you think it's because more people are seeing it for the first time actively?
Sure.
And now they're figuring out issues that they have with the game and storylines that they don't particularly agree with?
Well, I think there is going to be some of that because one of the big issues NHL has had is they do not explain their rules well.
Yeah, I've been watching hockey for like 10 years, and it's taken me a long time to learn what icing is.
The fact that commentators don't always know what's going to be icing, what's not.
Yeah.
I think at the core of it's an issue. You have the Hellebuck goal last game. Dallas versus Winnipeg that happened over the weekend, where a player kicks the puck into the goal. It hits the goalie's stick and goes in. They go to the situation room, the NHL situation room, where they do the it's like the NFL call to New York.
Yeah.
They review it. The commentators announce what the rule is, where the rule is stated: if a player kicks a puck and it hits their own stick or any player's body or stick other than the goalie's and goes in, it's a good goal. If a player kicks a puck and it hits anything of the goalie and goes in, it's a no goal. That is direct. That is, I'm paraphrasing slightly just to simplify the rule, but that's the verbiage.
It's a no goal.
Then they announce afterwards, because it hit Hellebuck's stick and it propelled into the goal, it counts.
Because it touched a player?
Like it touched the goalie. But the rule says if it touches the goalie at all, it's not a goal. But the explanation they came out with was saying because the goalie propelled it into the goal, it's now a goal. Directly contradicting the rule.
I hear you.
You had both head coaches on both teams come out afterwards saying, we don't really get it. Like the verbiage does not contain propel. The word propel does not show up in the NHL rulebook whatsoever.
It was just a bad call.
It was just a bad call. But
was it a game-winning call?
It was the goal that put them ahead.
Gotcha.
And then there was one more scored later on.
Gotcha.
So thank goodness that one was scored later on.
Yeah.
But it was a big goal where...
Oh, it's a momentum changer.
It's a momentum changer. And is the idea that it wasn't called on the ice. It was sent to the officials who are sitting off, who are just handling these situations, who are supposed to be the NHL representatives.
They're the big bodies. They're the guys who are standing there and supposed to uphold the lines.
And they contradicted their own rule. And they have yet to make a statement on why, and no one's explained why. Like, you have commentators, you have analysts, no one understands why this was called a goal.
And they moved on from it.
And they just moved on from it.
I think that's the best thing you can do in this situation.
If you admit it's a bad one, but it's the head scratching there, you have the issue with the Anaheim Ducks right now.
Yeah.
Where the Anaheim Ducks just announced their new head coach. Where was it? It is... I'm trying to remember his...
Anaheim Ducks are kind of going through a whole rebuild because they haven't had the ability to, really get lucky in their lottery either.
No.
They lost theirs to the Blackhawks, where they lost Connor Bedard, and then they got the next year who they lost to a Frenchman. So they're just in a really tough spot to be an Anaheim Ducks fan right now.
Yeah, it's a really tough spot there. But I'm trying to remember his name right now, and it'll come to me later. But the Anaheim Ducks announced a new coach. Now, this coach was suspended from the league for the last 4 years.
Oh, what did he do?
When he was on the Chicago Blackhawks in the 2010s, where they went on their tear.
He cheated, didn't he?
He mishandled a sexual assault inside the team.
Way worse than cheating.
Where a video coach reportedly sexually assaulted 2 young players and an intern later on that came out, and didn't forward the investigation, didn't move forward whatsoever because they're in the middle of their playoff run. They ended up winning the Stanley Cup. They let the coach go to the celebrations. That coach's name is on the Stanley Cup, and then they took action afterwards.
Is his name still on the Stanley Cup?
His name is still on the Stanley Cup because of that. This video coach, who later then went on to I think it's actually confirmed he was arrested. He went down to the minors and actually did something with a child there.
They should change that league name.
So the ownership group, the GM, this coach, and a few other coaches were banned from the league for 4 years. Mm-hmm. They reinstated this guy last season. At the end of last season, he gets another head coaching gig in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
Optics aren't good. The league has come out and said, hey, he's done the work to repair this relationship. He's done the work to be a better person, but won't give any details on anything that he's actually done.
Here's my spin on this.
Sure.
The NHL is learning a lesson
that
the NFL has been doing for a long time. Hire who you want. It doesn't really matter. We just want good product. That's what they care about right now. As a fan, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
It does. Especially when you were the number 4 league. You're making a jump to number 3. You're trying to push up that ranking. You're competing with the NBA right now.
You're trying to beat the NBA because I think the MLB is number 2 right now.
Right now it is, but it's enough where you can slide up this line. Like, it's no longer set and forward. Like, you could come up.
Yeah.
You have that optic. You have the Florida Panthers co-owner tweet some very racially insensitive, politically charged stuff.
They suspended him though.
They
quickly.
They took 2 days.
Yeah, I mean,
to investigate, but but again, with all just the optics overall is just a bad time for the NHL.
The NHL's
right now. And that's not even the on ice play. That's just stuff surrounding the game at the moment.
The NHL is the bust of the week. They've dropped the puck bad.
Yeah, not counting the injuries that they've had with the concerns there, the allegations of the head of player safety.
Yeah,
the head the current head of player safety for the NHL. His son works in the Florida Panthers front office. Florida Panthers were accused of hitting a player of the Maple Leafs, concussing him enough where he was taken out in a stretcher in the middle of the game.
They do muck it up.
I understand things get tough. I understand refs hold their whistle. Go for it.
Yeah.
But they do that. And then the guy, he's a former Florida Panther who actually has public beef because he was sued by an assistant coach on the Maple Leafs back when he was a player because Mark Stolarz, because he suffered a career-ending concussion and was told to suck it up by the head of player safety.
That's hockey, man.
That's hockey. It's like I
don't condone it, but like that is the most hockey thing. Like, you have a grade 3 concussion. Oh, what are you, a wuss? Like,
well, it was part of a bigger suit that was saying like, hey, you guys hid data that tied NHL to concussions. Yeah, like the same thing the NFL went through.
That's what I'm saying.
And you also had a ref get hit with a stick by a player, and the league took no action.
Yeah,
like it was the Dallas game. It was an intentional. The player comes over, does a slashing motion, hits the ref because he didn't get a call he wanted.
Yeah.
And the official rule for that is abuse of an official. And the way it's worded, the league will never step in those. It's up to the ref to make a decision if he wants to pursue it.
Does he have full carte blanche to do whatever he wants?
No, if he says, hey, I'm going to pursue it, then the league will take some action.
Okay.
But imagine...
But does that affect his ability to do his job? Like, does him being like, hey, this player was actively doing bad things to me, does that affect, like, all right, if he decides to pursue it, does that affect him being put to ref those games? Or like
politics. But imagine in the NBA, if like with the Chris Paul situation we talked about earlier. Now imagine that ref getting sole autonomy to decide whether or not a player gets, we're going to pursue suspension for him, or if I get to fully eject him without any league oversight.
I'll tell you right now, if that was true, or like if you could do that, I'd be a ref tomorrow. I'd work the rest of my life trying to eject players.
That's literally how the NHL rule book is written. Is if you try to pull a ref off of you in a fight, they could eject you for that.
Yeah. Well,
it happens every game.
Yeah, because they have to.
But now they could pick and choose what rules to enforce. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Is you've left, it's no longer a rule book, it's now guidelines.
I think that's most people with the ability to do that with rules. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's the idea of you're leaving in a ref's hands. Like if a player has beef with you and you're on the ice, they could hit you.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that has happened. Is like inadvertently you're just getting run over.
Oh yeah, they'll run picks to like smash referees if they want to.
And so that's, I think, a failing. It's just like overall, all this is now coming to light all at once.
Yeah, bad week.
And it's just a really rough 2 weeks for the NHL right now.
In their best part of their season.
Yeah.
Tough. Let's get into Hall of Famer of the Week. It's a new segment every week.
To bring up the mood a little bit, to lighten that up.
Maybe we start with Hall of Fame of the Week next week.
Sorry about that.
Every week we'll be, Canton gives you a gold jacket. The Masters give you a green jacket. We give you a brown jacket. It's the color of exactly what you're thinking. You're the best player of this week. Don's got one. I got one. You go into the Hall. Don, who's your Hall of Famer this week?
I'm going to stick with a similar topic as before. I'm doing international Canadian hockey at the moment.
I'm also going hockey, but it's not international
because
Canadian.
They got to do the greatest thing, I think, in NHL international history.
It was the minors, though, right?
No, it's the World Championships.
Oh, okay.
So players who aren't actively in playoffs can go and play represent their country in the World Championships. A lot of top tier NHL talent is doing it to get ready for Olympics next year, the Winter Olympics. They got to roll out the first draft pick line. They got to do
Connor Bedard,
Sid Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Matthew Celebrini, the first overall pick of 2000.
Sid Crosby played?
Yeah, he came out to do this. Like he stayed in shape for an extra 6 weeks longer than he had to go make this run. First round draft pick, like the first overall pick of 2005, 2013, 2024.
Wow.
They saw the Ravens Heisman formation and said, "Hold my beer."
That's awesome.
That is great. And then small side, they have to wear neck guards in international hockey. That is an official rule. Sidney Crosby was wearing the same neck guard he had back when he was 14 years old playing junior hockey.
That's awesome.
That neck guard is 20 at least. If he got it that season when he was first photographed
14,
with it, at least 24 years old. It's older than Matthew Celebrini, the guy playing on his line with him.
That's so sick.
That is just such a cool, that's such a great story for him.
That's a Hall of Famer right there.
That's a great, I just got so excited seeing those guys take the ice together.
I actually have a hockey guy too. I'm picking I picked an individual performance over the past playoffs of what we've seen. It's Mikko
Rantanen?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The Dallas Stars. The number's higher than it is because I wrote this during the day and then they played again.
Yeah.
As of this morning, he had 18 points and 9 goals
in just playoffs.
In this playoffs, he had only 1 goal on the entire playoff run that he did not affect. After tonight, he now has 10 goals and 20 points.
I think I saw the stat. It was a stat before this morning. I haven't checked the exact score, but I don't remember the assists for this game because it was finishing up as we started recording. He has been a part of every single goal except for the one that you mentioned in the playoffs, which just happened in their last game. He has been a part of every single point scored for the last month.
That's incredible.
From April 19 till now, he has been a part either scoring or assisting on every goal the Dallas Stars have put up.
I was talking about Jason Tatum and Jalen Brunson being on fire. Those are 2 guys that I had candidates for Hall of Famer of the week. I saw this guy's stats and I was like, if anyone gets to be the first Hall of Famer of the week, welcome to the team.
I heard it put, and this is a fun. I want to see what your thought is.
Yeah.
There's only one team right now that I think, as that could be said, their season is getting worse seeing another team succeed. Because the Colorado Avalanche traded Rantanen mid-season because they said we couldn't get a deal done and we think we could still win without him.
And what did the Avalanche do?
They got bounced in the first round.
Well, then there you go. That's why the Avalanche always do great in the regular season, get to the playoffs, and they right down their pants.
No, I mean, they did win a cup recently, but I think the idea that their season is actively getting worse, the better another team is doing at the moment.
Yeah.
It is crazy. And then the idea that Carolina, also in the playoffs, had Rantanen. That was the original trade.
Sometimes you just get hot.
Yeah,
maybe he's not as great of a player all the time, but he's a very good player.
No, he's a great player. He's been an all-star.
Oh, then what are we doing?
Colorado traded him to Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina then traded him to Dallas because Carolina's like, hey, we can go win. We just need these two guys from Dallas to go win. Well, and they proved it was right.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty good.
Like, think about those. I forget both of their players. I need to look them up again. But he got two role players, essentially. Think about being a role player on the other side of a trade of a superstar. Typically, you're not going to a good team.
Yeah, no, you're going to the Ducks.
Yeah, essentially. The fact that both of those teams that Rantanen has touched are now going to be projected to be in the Final Four.
Yeah,
the Final Four teams in there,
leading in a playoff series right now. That's crazy.
This sucks for Colorado.
Let's get into the NFL for a second. Sure. Derek Carr has retired over the weekend after a shoulder injury that was going to require surgery. He opted out of it, and he elected to retire. Somber moment for the league.
Yeah.
Derek Carr played
11 seasons.
11 season, 4-time Pro Bowler. Never won a playoff game, but finished top 20 in passing touchdowns. Over 40,000 career passing yards.
I think he's a great player.
Here's the thing.
Sure.
His career will always be looked at like, what if, how did... I wouldn't say he underachieved or overachieved. He was a second-round pick. He kind of did exactly what you want a second-round pick quarterback to be. I think he nailed it.
I think he had a great career. I don't want that to ever be underestimated. The idea that he was... do you remember the Crabtree... it was the Amari Cooper Crabtree Raiders team.
Yeah, they were flying.
He was in MVP conversations for that season until he broke his ankle.
Dwight Freeney ripped his ankle off on the Colts. Shout out to... They shouldn't have been playing him. They were already blowing us out. That was their fault.
I mean, I agree that they should have pulled him if it was with the blowout. But the idea that he had MVP looks for a little while, he's been a consistent top contributor. He's been a consistent upper half of the league quarterback for most of his career.
Well,
over 16.
Let's play a game, Don.
I knew this was going to open the door.
We'll start with who. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Would you rather Derek Carr edition?
Okay.
All right.
We're talking pre-shoulder injury, correct?
Pre-shoulder injury. So we're going to talk about career length. At the end of the day, who would you rather have as your quarterback for the career? Derek Carr or this player? Derek Carr or Dak Prescott?
I think that's the perfect comp. I can't believe I'm going to say that. I'm going to say Dak just because he has the mobility.
And a little more playoff success.
Just a touch more.
Literally just a touch.
Just a touch more, but I think you give the rosters that Dak has had to Carr, and Carr does very similar.
Okay.
I think those guys are like neck and neck.
Baker Mayfield.
I would take Carr over Baker.
Okay.
I think Baker's turned it on. It's too early to say if this could be sustained for Baker.
Jordan Love. Jordan, you think,
right now, based on the small sample size,
you're willing to take your shot on Jordan Love will have a more success. You think Jordan Love has 5 Pro Bowls in him? He has 1 right now.
Yeah, because I think he has another 10 years in him.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
Derek Carr.
Okay.
Derek Carr very easily.
I don't agree with you on that.
I thought Lawrence was going to be a bust when he got drafted.
I know you did.
I've been advocating for that. Yeah.
Jared Goff.
I would do Derek Carr. Derek Carr there. I mean, Goff has turned it on in recent years. I think it's more system oriented than anything. I think Carr could step in and be the same, if not a little bit better.
Let's go a little bit more legacy. Let me do a Ryan Tannehill.
Carr over Tannehill. He has a better peak.
Alex Smith.
I'm going to say Alex Smith. I really like Alex Smith. It's just because I got a soft spot for the guy. I love him.
I love him too, but I
think Carr was an overall more talented quarterback, but I think Alex Smith fits systems better.
I'm going to go Alex Smith. That Alex Smith 49ers reign era was...
It was fun.
Last one, Kirk Cousins. Do you think Derek Carr, at the end of the day, has had a more successful career than Kirk Cousins? Because I think
that's
we're at
a tough one. That's the good comparison as well.
I think we're at a safe point now where it's
Kirk is kind of
pretty much the end of the Kirk era.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
I think Kirk has had 2 bigger spikes in his career. Like he's hit a peak twice, a little bit higher than Carr has ever hit.
But Derek Carr MVP vote.
But I think,
if
he finished second in voting, then Carr's done right there.
Yeah,
the broken ankle does inhibit that a little bit. I would say week in, week out, I would take Carr. I think he's a tougher guy. I think he's a guy that could rally a locker room a little bit better.
You really like Derek Carr.
I'm a big fan. I
think you like him more than me.
Yeah, I mean, I had to defend him to Raiders fans when he was still on the Raiders.
Yeah, I think Raider fans had to take a step back, and I texted a couple Raider fans, and they were like, it was sad to kind of see him go. The way he did.
Especially because he could have played still. If he got the surgery, but the surgery because he originally had it on his shoulder, apparently reported it was still hurting.
Yeah.
So they were going to go in and do something, but he would have to miss a season, and that's season 13. You're coming back from a shoulder, like a rebuilt shoulder.
It's tough.
It's tough to come back.
Team already drafted a quarterback in the second round who's
go spend time with your family. You've done
made a ton of money. I'm sure we're going to see him on TV too, and he seems.
I think it'll be fun to have him on TV.
Well, we'll see. I don't really know how much the Derek Carr
college football games and stuff. Just be an analyst.
Fresno legend. Last thing we're going to talk about is the NFL schedule leak. There's been a couple leaks here and there. I don't want to get too into it, but there's a couple games that popped up that made me go.
Yeah. The idea of how the NFL's handling the schedule, though.
This has been the worst one.
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care at all?
I think that's my biggest issue, is the idea that they announced it during the draft as if it was a big, hey, guys, here's the schedule. We're going to announce it on this day. In the middle of the first round draft.
Can I get a little conspiracy with you?
Sure.
Apparently, the NFL's been waiting because they're waiting for the Steelers to figure out if they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers or not. And they're trying to get the Steelers on more primetime games if he is there. The Steelers are supposed to play the Packers this year.
They want that to be in primetime.
A primetime game.
That makes sense. Well, but you could flex. Just move it to the end of the season, and that way you have the ability to flex the game if you want.
Yeah.
It's an easy fix.
I agree.
The idea, we already know what the matchups are. We're just figuring out what order they're going to be played in.
I think this is an issue of the NFL smelling their poop a little too much, where they're like, we can make everything a spectacle. And they probably will. When they drop the schedules, we're going to sit here and do a segment on who's got the toughest schedule.
But I think the teams doing that is the fun part.
Yeah.
The team's marketing, the idea of the strength of schedule.
Yeah.
I don't care about the league announcing it. The idea, they held a press release earlier this week to announce that they're going to hold a press release for the schedule drop.
Yeah, they own us.
That is ridiculous.
They own us. Is there a game that you have your eyes on? I have 2 that I really want to talk about.
There's 3. One, just because I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this style of play, but 2 that are marquee matchups.
The first one is a week 1 matchup for me. It's the Chiefs versus Chiefs Chargers in Brazil.
That'll be fun. That'll be interesting.
It's going to be free on YouTube. That's my number 1. Circle it. It's going to be a Friday game.
Yeah.
It's free on YouTube. Everyone can watch it. If you have a YouTube TV, you get an extra, I think, different bonus content. But who cares? I love that the NFL's hey, free. Go get it. Everyone.
I think they should do that with get 1 game a week doing that.
I agree.
That's how you build the fan base.
That's how you make.
Because especially because almost everything is behind paywalls now.
Every Jaguar game should be on YouTube. Every Jaguar game, I guarantee you, in 5 years, if the Jaguars put all their games on YouTube live, they would amass a cult following.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get all the casuals, and you're going to get all the extreme hardcores who love it for the love of the game.
It'd be great. And this coming from a Colts fan.
That'd be awesome to see. I think every international game being on YouTube would probably benefit the league a lot.
Yeah.
My first matchup that I was going to do is shout out to an international game. Week 6, Broncos-Jets. Because we're limited on I think we only got 14, 15 games to pick from.
Yeah.
This one looks like a great defensive battle. I think this will be a lot of fun.
I think the Broncos are going to be an offense. I think the Broncos are going to be good next year.
I think Broncos are going to be good. I still believe in the Jets defense. Because especially with Rodgers gone, they could build it back pretty quick. I think the Broncos defense is lights out. I think in a London game, you always, whenever they travel internationally, especially to Europe, offenses drop a little bit. It's more defensive battles. This is going to be a fun, sloppy, defensive focus game.
I agree with you. I'm just so low on the Jets. I think by that point in the season, it's over.
Week 6 already. Week 6, it's over.
Yeah,
fair enough.
My other game is going to be the Commanders versus Dolphins in Madrid, the first Spain game. Yeah. I think it's two offenses that can be really, really high intensity.
If the Dolphins could pick it up,
it's on a natural grass field, which matters to me.
That's going to be nice. More fields should be that. I know it costs a bit more for the teams.
Yeah.
Bring that back. You see so many less injuries with the natural grass.
It's in a European stadium too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how Spain handles dealing with the NFL. If it's anything like how Brazil or how Berlin handled it, it's going to be electric.
It's going to be wild to watch. Week 10, Eagles-Packers. I just think that's going to be a marquee matchup. Like, just one of the heavyweights. We're just going to swing on each other.
We got that last year in Brazil, and I was kind of disappointed because I wanted that to be the big game, but it felt like the Brazil-ness of it slowed them down because the grass was bad in Brazil.
Yeah, the grass is bad on that field. They're going to run it back this season in Green Bay. In Week 10, so it's well before, like, the huge winter hit.
Yeah.
So I think we could get some explosions out of those offenses.
You have another game?
My other one, Black Friday, Bears-Eagles as well.
Just because that was Black Friday?
That's gonna be the Black Friday game. Amazon Prime, I think, has the official holding on it.
100% has it. Yeah.
I think that's just gonna be interesting if the Bears take the step forward. I think they do this season. Caleb in his second year, rebuild O-line. I think that could be a pretty interesting defending. We're the top now versus here's the guys coming back up.
I'm not smelling the Bears' love this year.
I'm just saying, if the Pope gets involved.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you loud and clear. That's why I've been betting the White Sox a lot.
Okay. Interesting one.
It's not been good. Last thing, Don, it's the question of the day. It's it's a simple one.
All right.
There's a lot of finger on the scales going on.
Yeah.
If I gave you the ability to be the commissioner of any sports league, and I gave you the power to put your finger on the scale, what sport would you do it on to make it more popular? How would you do it? I have my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to say it out loud.
All right.
I recently went to Austin, Texas to watch a soccer game for the first time, and I loved it.
MLS is crazy.
I respect it enough to call it soccer. I will never call it the other thing. I used to call it kickball. We're at soccer now. This is levels up.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a good time, and I'm now in on the MLS. My team is the Galaxy. Shout out to the Galaxy. Last year won champ. They're 0-9 this year. They suck, but it's fine. We're in. If I was the commissioner, I'd go into the MLS, and I'd change a lot.
Okay.
First thing I do, no more offsides. Let's just start doing this thing. I want as many goals as possible. I want these over-unders to be at 9.5. I want these guys scoring 5 goals a game. I'm shortening the field, maybe even taking a couple guys off the field. I don't even care. I'm trying to make it a bastardization, Americanized soccer.
So they've a good comparison, I think, a fun deep dive that we should do at a later date. And this is going to be very niche for a lot of U.S. viewers. Cricket did something like this.
Yeah.
Is because cricket traditionally a 3-game system. They ran the T20s out of India. That's what international play is based on now. And it's the idea that they shorten the games. They've added new rules to introduce better home run hitting where it wasn't really involved they've decreased the amount of outfielders to a certain extent, like how the formations are run now. And they've made it more explosive. That immediately got picked up internationally within 2 years of them making those adjustments.
That's what I'm saying. If you make these small adjustments to make a more casual fan, as I am, more enthralled into the game, that's fine. Look, I watch hockey. I don't need there to be 15 goals scored.
No,
but if I
6,
if I can get 6 every time I go, having a good time.
Yeah, fair enough. For me, I would do the MLB. In a similar way. And I'm saying this as a guy who lives in LA, supports the Yankees, which I know is crazy enough. And we've talked about why on that. Enforce a hard cap.
You want hard cap?
I would enforce a hard cap.
That would kill me and you.
Yes, I understand that.
Damn.
and allow sellies, allow celebrations.
Oh,
I want bat flips. I want stare downs. I want the chippiness. You bring both those in, small markets pick up. the game immediately becomes more nationwide, not just, the Dodgers, the Yankees.
How quickly does it become Savannah Bananas, though? Because that's
all I need. I think that's all that I think because we already got the pitch clock in place, so the game's picked up. Viewership is up this season.
Yeah, I love baseball
because it's no longer a 4 to 5 hour game. You keep it at 3 with the other sport leagues already,
and it's electric.
The home run's already up right now, so you're getting the scoring that you want. Just even cap space to evenly disperse players a little bit better, and then allow the players to show more personality.
It's a little fun to put your finger on the scale, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a great time.
Pick of the week. My pick of the week is going to be the Capitals versus Hurricanes. The game is on Thursday. I'm taking the over 5.5 goals. Sure. They've hit the over in 3 of their 4 games. I think they hit it again this time.
For me, I'm taking the Maple Leafs to win their series against the Florida Panthers. There's 3 games left. They're tied 2-2 coming in. Maple Leafs are plus 164. Might be the only series I've ever seen where the team who came with the higher seed, who got home field advantage first, was the underdog in every single matchup.
Do you think that the Maple Leafs are the only chance for Canada to win a cup this year?
No, Edmonton. Edmonton's good. I believe in Edmonton there. But I think the Maple Leafs, considering an away team has never won in a series yet, Maple Leafs put up the closest in this series, or in this matchup. Maple Leafs put up the closest in Game 3. Reportedly that a lot of guys had the flu. They had multiple players leave the ice, go down the tunnel to throw up, allegedly. So they're coming back into Toronto. Out of the last 3 games of the series, 2 were played in Toronto. And they've gotten time to rest and heal. I think this is going to be a really fun, buzzy one. And I'm taking the plus odds where you can. Chase the positive money.
I'm taking that too. Before we end the show, I bought a book. I know, it's crazy. It's called Football's Greatest Quotes. It's from 1990, so there is no Baltimore Ravens inside of it, I promise.
Fair enough.
What I decided to do is we're going to close every single episode with a quote of the day, if you will. And, of course, we'll start with the Indianapolis Colts, or at this time, the Baltimore Colts. This is a quote from a quarterback and his gambling. He says, "I should have been an All-American in bullshitting." And that's where I sit on that. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Bus Picks. My name is Dio. That is Don. And remember,
pray for the parlay.